You cry, the Quran engages with you.
Yeah.
You get that awakening. You know it's the truth. Now you want to talk about, right? I want to share this truth with other people.
Yeah.
But I want to know, how did that fix you? Did you get fixed straight away? Did your anxiety and panic, did it diminish straight away as a result of engaging with the Quran? So I want to know the period from engaging with the Quran, then the removal of your panic and anxiety.
Yeah.
What was happening there?
So I'm trying to learn as much as I can, right? So there's two things going on inside me right now. There's an element which is found this type of peace and tranquility I can't explain.
Was that immediate?
Yeah, the piece of the puzzle, like there was almost like, you know, when you're making a puzzle and there's this one last piece or two pieces left and you fit them in, and that satisfaction you get that it fits. It's a perfect fit.
Wait, let me just get this straight, just for the listeners. So you've got panic and anxiety for years.
Yeah.
You've tried alcohol and drugs and all of these things.
Yeah.
You still have panic and anxiety. Then you engage with the Quran.
Yeah.
Then you immediately know it's the truth.
Yeah.
Now, does your panic and anxiety diminish at that point?
Well, I mean, I know it when I encounter that part of the Quran. So I'm reading it. I'm feeling, okay, there's something here, because I continue to read it. But then at one point, something hits me and it just opens me up, right? Like nothing else.
And then basically your life changed from that moment.
It's changed, but the panic and anxiety is still there.
Okay.
Right.
So to a lesser degree, or
to a lesser degree, because now there's this other element of me which has found something which has found the truth. Right. I know it's the truth. It's very hard to explain it because we grow up in a world, bro, in an environment which teaches us to think that seeing is believing. You know, if you cannot rationally justify something, it's not true. If you cannot empirically justify something, it's not true. But I'm experiencing something here now, which is just blowing my mind as well, that I know this is the truth, more so than looking myself in the mirror and knowing that I'm real and I exist. But I cannot, at this point at least, I haven't rationally justified it. I haven't gone through the arguments for the miracles of the Quran and all of these things, though that came much later. So that's an amazing, profound thing that's happened. And that for me has highlighted to me that there are few things. Number one, that the human being is more than just the physical. Right? Because there was points in my life, bro, I would walk past the butchers and I would look into the window and there would be pieces of meat hanging and I would look at that and this morbid thought would strike me that what's the difference between me and that piece of meat that's hanging in the window? That's flesh and bone. I'm flesh and bone. What's the difference?
Just a different rearrangement.
Yeah, literally. There's no difference. You skin me, it's the same thing, just in a different form, right? And that will be just leave me such a dark and so painful feeling inside you can't explain. But now I've realized that there's something beyond this physical me that's experienced something.
So it sounds like your anxiety changed to a type of anxiety that you wanted to know more about the truth you found and that you wanted to share it.
No. So that was another element of me.
Oh, okay.
Right. But now the anxiety is still there. And I remember clearly today, there was one moment where I knew, okay, so after prayers, now that I'm starting to practice Islam, I need to pray. I never prayed in my life as far as I remember. Yeah. Maybe on the odd occasion. I read the Quran when I was a child, but I never, obviously typical Pakistani family system, right? You go to the madrasa, you read the Quran and that's it. So I remember I started praying and there was one day I fell in prostration. That's probably the most sincere prostration I've probably made ever, right? And I pray that I can make more of those. But I fell into prostration and I asked God, I said, look, please take this anxiety and depression away from me. Only you can take this away from me. And I was sure of that at the time. Because nothing else could. I couldn't. And I knew it was only Allah that could take that away from me. And not just saying it or knowing it as a theoretical statement, but actually knowing it here, like believing it, that, okay, Allah is the only one that can take this away. And I'm sure of that. And as soon as I picked my head up out of that prostration, bro, Wallahi, Allah is my witness, that anxiety and depression disappeared. It disappeared like it never existed. It just went away completely. And that, talk about a miracle, right? And it's not me. I want people to notice this. Whether you're an atheist, agnostic, whoever you are, God will give every single human being a set of signs in their own life. You just need to switch on your internal radar to pick them up, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and when you do that, you will pick them up. You will see them, right? And God's given you the ability to see them and to process them. Yeah, and if you don't process them in the right way for whatever reason, then you're responsible, obviously, because of what you've done. So and that for me was one of the greatest signs.
That was deep.
And it affected me, bro. It changed me. And like, think about it, a person in that state, to then say, oh no, well, hold on a second, I'm not going to believe until I am rationally convinced or empirically convinced. That's just being stupid. You're actually acting like an animal in that regard then. Because only animals are convinced when they see something and then they act. Yeah, we've been blessed with something a bit more than that. So use those faculties. And denying that would have been a crime at that point.
So you're frustrated, it disappears
Gone, yeah.
instantaneously,
Yeah,
immediately. Allahu Akbar.